Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. Do you know what partial birth abortion is? Partial birth abortion is a term invented by pro-lifers. But after birth abortion is a term invented by two philosophers, Alberto Giubilini and Francesca Minerva. They write in the Journal of Medical Ethics, proposing when circumstances occur after birth such that they would have justified abortion, presumably had they known, what we call after birth abortion should be permissible. Did you catch that? A baby is born. It is out of the mother's womb. However, the mother either didn't want it born or it may have a debilitating issue. Under this philosophy, doctors can simply kill it. Moms don't want it? Kill it. Here are doctors proposing a new practice they call after birth abortion. We used to call it infanticide. The idea is that if this child that would have been aborted, and if the mother knew ahead of time just what condition the baby would be in, or the well-being of the family is at risk, it can be aborted. We call it killed, but either way, there's no questions asked. This scenario is proposed in a published article by Drs. Giubilini and Minerva that sparked outrage just last week or 2 weeks ago and motivated a number of U.S. representatives to denounce it on the floor of the House. The case for after-birth abortion draws a logical path from common pro-choice assumptions to infanticide. It challenges us implicitly and explicitly to explain why, if abortion is permissible, infanticide isn't. And here are some of the assumptions. The moral significance of the fetal development is arbitrary. Now, this is a common argument among pro-choicers. Abortions at an early stage are the best option for both psychological and physical reasons, they write. Merely being human is not in itself a reason for ascribing someone a right to life, they write. Indeed, many humans are not considered subjects of a right to life, such as spare embryos, where research on embryo stem cells is permitted, or fetuses where abortion is permitted. There's also the issue of neural development, since neural development continues after birth. The newborn doesn't yet meet their definition of a person. The moral status of an infant is equivalent to that of a fetus, that is, neither can be considered a person or a morally relevant sense. That's their rationale. Secondly, they say prior to personhood, human life has no moral claims on us. Apparently, personhood doesn't begin until sometime after birth. Once that premise is added, the newborn, like the fetus, becomes fair game. They draw comparisons between potential people and actual people. Thirdly, they write any burden on the woman outweighs the value of the child. They note that philosophers such as Peter Singer, you ever hear of Peter Singer? Have presented arguments for neonaticide for many years. Until now, those arguments have focused on what's best for the baby. In the words of recent Dutch guidelines, quote, infants with a hopeless prognosis who experience what parents and medical experts deem to be unbearable suffering can be killed. These two men merely push the idea one step further, calling their proposal after-birth abortion rather than euthanasia, because the best interest of the one who dies is not necessarily the primary criterion for the choice. Actual people's well-being could be threatened by the new even if healthy, child requiring energy, money, and care, which the family might happen to be in short supply of. An after-birth abortion might be warranted by any interests of actual people, parents, family, society, to pursue their own well-being. Child's going to get in the way. This includes the interests of the mother, who might suffer psychological distress from giving her child up for adoption. Kill it. Fourthly, the value of life depends on choice. Pro-choicers don't accept the idea that the path from pregnancy to maternity, being natural, must be followed. They argue it's a choice, and that choice is up to the woman, right up to the end, and now after the end. Some assert that the life within her has no moral status until she chooses to give birth to it. These two experts simply extend that particular logic beyond birth. Since the newborn is not yet a person, its significance continues to hinge on the mother's decisions. Neonates might or might not become particular persons depending on our choice. Neonates, not babies, not children. Fifthly, discovery of a serious defect is grounds for termination. Most people agree that abortion should be permitted when a grave defect is discovered at amniocentesis. Most people agree. Many people do not, including mothers who have gone through with it. In the partial birth abortion debate, pro-choicers extend this rationale, arguing that abortions in the third trimester should be permitted when horrible defects are identified at that stage. I don't know who he's talking about. They take this argument to the next level, noting that defects often remain undiscovered until birth. That's true. In some, the authors are arguing that if criteria such as the costs, social, psychological, economic, for the potential parents are good enough reasons for having an abortion even when the fetus is healthy, if the moral status of the newborn is the same as that of an infant, and if neither has any moral value by virtue of being a potential person, then the same reasons which justify abortion should also justify the killing of a potential person when it is at the stage of a newborn. You know, that's good logic. It works. Nothing wrong with terminating a fetus before or after birth. You can sleep comfortably knowing that what you destroy is not a person. Not yet. The logic that it takes to abort the child early is now the same logic being applied to killing the child after its birth. But what if that fetus, what if that baby is a person? What if it's a person at the moment of conception? A life. A God-ordained life. There are Bible illustrations. The baby that leapt in his mother's womb when he heard the voice. Men, a prophet comes to mind, I can't remember which one, who was chosen by God to be his prophet before he was ever conceived. These are heavy, heavy philosophical issues, but they are also heavy moral issues. We're moving in the wrong direction. Ungodly men and women are taking us there. Don't follow.